the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Happy hump day to you. Made it halfway through the week, and it is SEC tournament time here on the Auburn Blitz Podcast. We're glad that you joined us, wherever it is that you're tuning us in, and whenever you tune us in, we appreciate it. Subscribers keep rising, and it's because of you. Faith, good to see you this morning. Got a little glow, taking that sun in down on the coast.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, it finally was nice out yesterday, and we were able to spend a lot of the day outside, and so I feel a lot better. I feel like I have a little bit of color back to me.
Everybody loves vitamin C, right? Gotta have that vitamin C.
Absolutely.
And no pun intended, too, right?
Right
by the sea. So anyway, for those that didn't pick up on that. Anyway, glad that you joined us out there. And again, get your comments in. Auburn doesn't play till Friday, but the SEC tournament starts today. It really starts at lunch. We'll talk about some of those games that we'll see today and who potentially Auburn will play in a couple of days. Saw Coach Pearl on some interviews yesterday, and Steven as well, talking about this team. And, you and I talked about this yesterday. Does this team have a chip on its shoulder? Probably so, and that's a good thing. You want to be able to play with a little bit of extra motivation. Not that this team really needs motivation, but now you're number 3 in the country. You're not number 1 anymore, and that in this time of year, you're looking for anything to kind of give you a spark. It's been a long marathon of a season. Auburn's proved itself. They were the unanimous number 1 team in the country for a while, and then I think they had it for 8 total weeks. And then you look at clinching the regular season with a couple of games to spare. No, the week didn't end the way we wanted it to end, but now everybody kind of erases all that. You've kind of put all your ammo over here to the side, and you're getting ready to fight a new fight in the postseason. And rightfully or wrongfully, we talk about it. This is what people remember you for. Auburn's going to hang the regular season. They've already hung the banner inside Neville Arena. And maybe Saturday they were going to have a net cutting ceremony. And they didn't get a chance to do that because they lost Alabama. So it kind of killed the vibe. So maybe this team feels like something kind of got stolen from them, because they won the regular season over a week ago in Kentucky on the road, so they weren't in Neville Arena. The ceremony they had planned got thwarted by their arch rival. So now maybe this team goes, you know what? We got a bad taste in our mouth, and we've kind of been robbed of some things, but it was our fault that we were robbed of those things. But let's go out there and let's cut the real nets down now that we're in March.
Yeah, I can imagine that after losing on Saturday and looking forward to cutting the nets down and them getting a piece of it and stuff like that, how upset they are after not being able to let that happen. And especially the seniors too, that have been there for so long. Just being disappointed and really wanting to turn it around and stuff.
Yeah, and you kind of add that part in there about the senior day celebration. I mean, I look back at North Carolina and Duke when they honored Mike Krzyzewski, and North Carolina comes in there and beats Duke, and they honor the best coach in Duke history and a legend, but boy, it was a sour taste because your rival comes in and beats you. And so they have to live with that. And, this team's going to have to live with how this season ended, but they still have something to say about it. That's the good thing. If you look at the pattern over the last several years with Auburn in March, we've ended the season well, the regular season and then the SEC tournament season. But when we get to March, it fizzles on us. So I'm hoping that a change of fortune, a change of fate is ahead for us on that. I think, a rejuvenation, a rebirth here going into this tournament is something that's not bad. And look, we don't want to lose, but this is an opportunity to kind of right the ship a little bit. And again, this is what people are going to remember you for, because we keep talking about Auburn's postseason past here. The last 5 trips, only one team has made it out of the first weekend, and that was the team that went to the Final Four, and they were dangerously close to losing in the first round themselves. So this team knows that. They don't need anybody to tell them. South Carolina, Arkansas gets started today at noon, and then game 2 will follow right after that. That'll be Texas Vanderbilt. Then the night session will start at 6, LSU, Mississippi State, and then Oklahoma, Georgia. But we're more concerned with what's going on with South Carolina and Arkansas, and so is Ole Miss, because Ole Miss will get the winner of that game, and then we'll get the winner of Ole Miss and whoever wins today. So that's where we're going to look. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but we'll be watching that game at noon. I think it's scary anytime you get to a tournament setting, especially with a team like South Carolina that's got talent. They can beat you. Arkansas knows that. They've already lost to them. So those teams are going to battle it out. Now, John Calipari has pretty much said, this tournament doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's what he used to say at Kentucky. And he said the reason we used to play so well in it was because we didn't really put a lot of emphasis on it. Just kind of went out and played. And, our season was made on what we did in the NCAA tournament. And I think that's what we've all been talking about too for about 3 weeks now. And I hate it that it's that way. It's fun. I went last year. If you've never been to a SEC tournament, it's just a cool environment. It's also fun when you win it. But it's kind of like you win it and in 30 minutes to an hour, it's over. I mean, the celebration is kind of like, okay, we're moving on. Next, we got to get ready to play on Thursday or Friday. So it's in the memory bank pretty fast.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm sure Coach Pearl's, or any coach really, is saying, all right, well, that was great. That was awesome. What is that going to do? What have you learned from this game to apply in the NCAA tournament? What have you learned that is going to make you better? And all that has to do with going forward. And you can't really sit there and celebrate too long. And you can't have that hangover the way that we did after beating Kentucky in Kentucky. And you don't have time for that. You don't have time to goof off and celebrate too much.
No, there's obviously looking at what you can get out of this tournament is some of the things that made you falter coming down the stretch, your edge, your intensity, being better on the boards, maybe being a little bit more healthy, and working this past week and trying to get back to 100%, working on your attitude, working on your emotions, learning from all of that, saying, look, that cost us, but you got everything still left in front of you. There's not going to be any drama after this tournament on where you're going to be seated like last year. Everybody was like, well, they won the tournament. Are they going to get up to a 3 seed or possibly a 2? And then when it didn't happen, everybody just kind of belabored that point and just ran that in the ground. And I think they ran it all the way in the ground to the point that it affected the psyche of the team. Joseph, good morning to you as well. Thanks for tuning us in up in Fayette County, Alabama. War Eagle to you. Appreciate you tuning us in this morning. But I think that's where we are with it. Not to just keep hammering this nail down into the ground, but I think you're going to see a different team. I really do. I think you're going to see a team that's refocused, that had a little bit of a stumble here closing out the regular season after they won it. And they got a bad taste in their mouth, and that's dangerous for everybody because this team obviously is very, very good. It's been the number one team for a lot of the SEC season. And so the last thing you want to do is piss a good team off, and that's what's happened here. Texas A&M and Alabama beating this team may be the best thing when we come back in a month from now, Faith, and talk. After the tournament's over, we said that's the best thing that ever happened to this team. They needed that.
Yeah, and we've also talked about how being the number one team has affected them with that target on their back, and it feels like we've talked about that forever because we were the number one team. It felt like for so long, and I mean, yeah, you've got a little bit of pressure taken off of you in that sense, but also the last thing you wanted to do was go out losing the last two games of the regular season, and one of them being your rival, and just there's no way that the anger that is hopefully built up from all of that will, do them wrong in this SEC tournament of trying to prove to everybody, and including themselves, that there was a reason that they were number one for so long, and there's a reason that we are where we've been for so long.
Well, again, I don't think this team needs a lot of motivation, but sometimes it just needs a little bit of a wake-up call. Everybody needs that. Again, it's a long, grueling season, and we'll see in a couple days. And again, I don't think you can put too much stock into what happens if they were to lose the first game. That's not the end of the world. Now, do you want to lose 3 in a row? No. I think it'd be good to get another win under your belt, and then play Tennessee. And then if you lose a close game to Tennessee, so be it, and get out and go get ready to play in the tournament. And I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. You can talk this thing to death, and it's just kind of like talking spring football before spring football gets started. Now you're just digging for stuff to talk about at that point. That's not relative; it's just speculation. So we're excited about spring football starting next week, and we'll be talking about everything going on. And with that, that's where that's where I get excited with all the newbies coming in, and we're going. And we wanted to do this the other day, and we didn't get a chance to do it. And that's talk about some of the new numbers that some of the guys are going to be wearing coming into spring. Some jersey changes. Some of the some of the freshmen, they didn't have a jersey number, so what are they going to be wearing? That's what we'll talk about here in just a minute. We'll talk about some baseball. Also, baseball last night getting a win 6-1 over UT Martin up at the Trash Pandas Stadium in Huntsville. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first things first, let's talk about our sponsors, Sensagreen. For air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They're the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving you thousands of dollars on a new unit. So give them a call. Scout Program Management, a full-service construction management firm specializing in educational projects such as new school builds, renovation projects, any type of a building for your school system. They'll handle it from start to finish. Bunkers on West Glen and Auburn, outstanding place, great food, great atmosphere, all of the above. You can't go wrong. Great place to watch the SEC tournament. If you're looking for a place to go and hang out, watch the SEC tournament, Bunkers is the place to be. So we'll get to some of our other sponsors here a little bit later on in the show. We won't be on as long today, Faith, a lot going on, but I want to get to these jersey numbers because we didn't get a chance to talk about that the other day. And I'm just going to go through and highlight some of the guys that, newcomers, jersey changes. Right out of the gate, Robert Woodyard will be wearing 0, along Damari Alston, obviously, is now 0, and he's been 0. But Robert Woodyard changes his number. Champ Anthony changes from 25 to number 1. Newcomer Eric Singleton will be wearing number 1. Our guy Malcolm Simmons, he changes his jersey number from 11 to number 4. Horatio Fields, that transferred in from Wake Forest, will be wearing number 5. DeMarcus Riddick will be wearing number 6 now. So DeMarcus Riddick wearing number 6. Deuce Knight, you would think, obviously, Deuce. But Cam Newton's like, nah, I ain't wearing my number and all that fallout stuff. And nobody's worn 2
Got to prove himself.
Yeah, got to prove himself. But the number's not retired, by the way. Number 2 is not retired at Auburn, but Deuce Knight coming in will be wearing number 9. So I don't know how you can translate 2 to 9 and Deuce and all that kind of stuff. Elijah Melendez, freshman linebacker, will be wearing number 9. Jackson Arnold will be wearing number 11. Obviously, a lot of people will be watching him. I'm not going to hit everybody on this list. Brother of Keldrick Fault, J.J. Fault, will be wearing number 18. As we just scroll on down through here, Anquan Newboy Fagans will be wearing number 21. Those are some of your some of these freshmen. Again, Eric Winters will be wearing 25. If anybody wants to know a particular number, shoot it to us. I'm not going to read them all off. Jared Smith on the defensive line. A lot of people excited about watching him from Thompson High School, one of the top freshmen here in the state of Alabama, will be wearing number 41. As I scroll on down and look, see if anybody else kind of stands out. We have this big list. Again, I'm not going through the whole thing. Just trying to Jordan Crawford will be wearing number 95. He and Malik Autry are going to look very similar in the fact that they weigh the same. They're not the same height. Jordan Crawford's a little over 6 foot, and Malik Autry's about 6'4.5", 6'5". And then Antonio Coleman, also another one of those top freshmen on the defensive line, will be wearing number 99. So there's some of the newbie numbers, some of the transfer numbers, guys switching numbers. You get all that kind of stuff that goes on as you head into spring. So for all you fandoms out there that want to buy a jersey, we knew Malcolm was switching to number 4. Jackson Arnold was 11 at Oklahoma, so I'm sure they worked out a deal there to kind of make that switch. Joseph, look out for Jordan Crawford. We've talked about him a good bit on this show. A phenomenal player in high school at Parker. And Vodney Cleveland will be another guy that we're watching at Parker this year that played alongside Jordan Crawford. And as we dive into football, we're going to talk about guys at Auburn they're targeting and some guys that they'll want to add to this class that they've already gotten a good start on. And then spring for me, Faith, if we want to talk a little bit about football right here, I'm going to be watching the offensive and defensive lines. I know everybody's going to be watching. The obvious positions to watch the quarterback, but I'm going to be watching the offensive and defensive lines, especially with some of the guys that we just talked about, adding Antonio Coleman and Jared Smith and Jordan Crawford into the mix with, Malik Blockton and Keldrick Falk and the guys that are already up there. I think this has an opportunity to be a strength of this Auburn football team going into next season. And we need to continue to get better on the lines of scrimmage. And
that's the way that you're able to, on the offensive line, that's the way you're able to see your quarterback thrive and be successful is if you have a good offensive line. We've watched a few of our quarterbacks run for their lives for the past how many years?
Too
And
many to count.
yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always, again, I'm a little bit younger here. So the older I've gotten and the more I've paid attention and stuff like that, um, it is the same thing every single year of there he goes running for his life. He's going to have to throw it. And it's always, I feel like we have a comparison. Even growing up, I was like, Daddy, how come these guys are really staying in close and the quarterback isn't running around like our guys are? And that was me even literally at a young age, which it's the same thing now that I'm older and I'm thinking,
Hey, nothing. What's changed?
I'm asking my father the same question. I'm like, why is this still happening?
Right.
Thought you would learn. But yeah, that's how you're going to have a successful quarterback. That's how you're going to have, you're going to be able to make plays happen on the offense. Is it all starts with that offensive line.
Definitely so.
I didn't see any of that.
Got some new guys coming in. We'll see if they're able to break in. But Auburn returned several guys. When you return your center, Connor Lew, and we'll break more of this down as we get into spring. Again, we can all sit here and talk about the roster like some of these other guys are doing and stuff. And I mean, that's just trying to fill time at that point. But spring football starts next week, and we'll be covering that. We'll be talking about it. Hey, I've got something I want to throw at everybody. A-Day is April 12th. Is this the last A-Day as we know it? Our spring games going away? I kind of feel like they are. And I think, will this be the last opportunity for Auburn to have a true A-Day game? I know that Alabama's already changed up how they're doing things. And a lot of teams are just not having a spring game, or it's going to be closed. It's not the way it used to be because of the landscape of college football and the transfer portal and everybody always out there scouting your guys, because you're scouting somebody's and they're scouting yours, and they're trying to find somebody that they can entice away. And the last thing you want to do is run a guy out there that tears it up and then starts getting recruited on the back in the back channels to come over and transfer before the season even starts. So teams and coaches are approaching this spring game a lot differently.
What are you thinking about not having the same traditional spring A-Day game?
I think it sucks for the fans. I think there's a lot of fans
away from tradition.
Well, I think, yeah, that's another topic. I mean, who knows what tradition is anymore in college? And I hate to be that way, but I mean, everything is so different now. I mean, we hang on to things that are tradition, and what you've accomplished over time builds your tradition. Rolling Toomer's Corner is tradition, but these guys now, everybody comes and goes so fast. I don't know that they have time to really anchor in and understand what tradition is. They're looking for the best option to get them to the next level. And I know that's a business, and that's what we've created. So yeah, I mean, it's not the same way it was in 1995 or 1985, where you go and watch an 8-day game and you try to maybe have a fan day after it and all that kind of stuff. You still have fan day, but
think about all the families that go and they enjoy going every
year. They do.
Year.
I agree.
Now,
yeah,
it's turned into this because of the business college football is. Like, it's
and again, it's the accessibility to the players and the team just feels like it kind of gets further and further away for people. And you're not as engaged, maybe one-on-one, and have those opportunities. And again, it's a glorified scrimmage. And I don't want to get overly, over the top about this game changing or morphing into something different or going away completely. But it's the way of the world. It's a coach's responsibility to protect his team and to protect his interest. And why are you going to I remember just a few years ago, the happening thing was to get your A-Day game or spring game televised, which a lot of them are either on SEC Network or ESPN or be picked up because you're thinking, oh, that's more exposure. That's more of a marketing opportunity for us. Now it's completely opposite. It's like, no, I don't want you to come. I don't want you to film us. I don't want you to cover our game. It's just crazy how things force change. And the way they look at it, the way we look at it's completely different now. So, yeah, I think they're going away because of the portal. Now, if the rules change and they implement some things that prevent players from leaving schools after a spring, but I don't know how you do that without implementing a rule that says you're not eligible to go play in the same calendar year. If you transfer, they're not going to do that. They're not going to go back and do that. That the guy from Wisconsin proved there's really not a portal because they were like, well, you can't leave and go to Miami.
Windows.
Yeah, there's no windows.
There's still the portal, but there's just not the windows
Right.
that they said they had. Yeah.
Right. So, that in itself is kind of if none of that changes, then yes, you're going to see these games go away. Are you going to see some teams that have, the top tier teams say, I'm not putting my team out there on display for everybody to come and cherry pick my players? Just not going to do it. And so, all your practices are pretty much closed anyway. And, we saw that and we've seen that change over the years where you used to could go and certain days you could be there most all day. And now it's like you get 20 minutes right at the beginning when everybody's stretching and then they run everybody out and you don't even really get to see any practice. The way we all get our information is through, people that were there, inside sources that kind of tell you what happened. And then whatever the coaches tell you in the pressers after practice, that's where you get your information.
All the media practices is also a 17 or 12-minute quarter because they have X amount of quarters. And so when I was there over either the summer or some in the fall, it was a quarter of the time. And
right.
You weren't able to really see much of it. You were able to see some stuff.
You're not seeing anything of any relevance.
Yeah, that there were other reps that were getting run and other groups together, and you don't really have that much time to go stand on the offensive side and then move over to the defensive side because by the time you're watching this and you come over here, there's nothing going on.
Right. So that's that. I wanted to bring that up. I didn't want to. Again, I'm kind of indifferent about it, to be honest with you. I haven't been to an A-Day game in so long. It's for kids. I think it's for kids. It's for, Auburn's done a really good job of making it a weekend and planning A-Day and having other, games in town, baseball, softball, have things that you can go do all weekend and kind of bring that that family environment back into the fold for an entire weekend around Auburn athletics. But, I think, and maybe Auburn decides they want to be an outlier and say they're not going to change it. I'm just throwing that out there. Is this the last time we see an A-Day game as we've all known them? Because we're already seeing a lot of other schools decide not to do them or change them into something else. And maybe they do. Maybe they make it more of a fan-friendly kind of deal where they go out there and you can go throw a pass to Cam Coleman, as a kid. And, or maybe you can have a little clinic with the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks take a group of however many kids that sign up, and they can go over there and do that, or you can run drills. Make it something like that. You can still make it a fan experience, but not just line up out there and run plays and put all your players out there as far as I guess as on the auction block. I'm trying to come up with the right words here for other schools to kind of pick and choose if they want to come after them or not. And look, everybody's doing it. They're watching those games and they're seeing guys and they're going, hey, you're behind this guy. We could use you right now. You could start for us. And we saw how you performed in that game. So look, everybody's talking about the same stuff on that. This is not, this is not, earth-shattering news that we're delivering to everybody. But the whole point of the conversation was, is this it for A-Day games? Will this be the last one we see where it's kind of – and it's not like you're running a lot of plays or doing anything anyway. But, and we all knew Cam Coleman was going to be good. But last year, he kind of burst onto the scene. A couple of those deep passes he caught and his athletic ability. So, if you got a guy that's on down the roster that happens to have a day and shows out, then he's going to be a target. You can just expect that. So, all right, Auburn baseball last night with a 6-1 win over UT Martin. Eric Snow went 3 for 4, had a great outing. Alex Petrovich, 5 1/3 innings, only allowed 1 run. So, Coach Thompson very excited about him and battled some injuries.
Players of the game, yeah.
Yep, battled some injuries last year, but seems to be on point. Head into SEC play this weekend. Look, just like the softball team found out. Softball team was 20-1. They went to Starkville and got swept. This is a brutal league. You open up with Vanderbilt, who's also 14-3. You look up at Tennessee, and I think they're 19-0 or 17-0 or something like that. Everybody in this league is ridiculously good outside of Missouri. And Missouri's, I think, 8-8. I don't have the standings up in front of me right now, but Auburn's first 4 SEC series, they open up with Vanderbilt, which, by the way, the weather looks like it's going to be terrible this weekend. Severe storms on Saturday. I don't know how that affects Saturday and Sunday, but probably going to have to be maneuvering and changing some things around because Saturday definitely looks like it's a wash. So you got Vanderbilt this weekend, at Kentucky, at Georgia, and then you come home for Alabama pretty quick. So the 4th series of the season, you welcome in Alabama. So that's your first 4 series there for Auburn in baseball. We all know how good Vanderbilt's program is. Kentucky, Georgia, heck, all of them. This is not as brutal of a start, though, as last year's.
As last year, yeah.
My God, it was horrible.
Last year was tough, for sure.
So not near as brutal as last year, but still, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to buckle down every weekend, and pitching's gonna be a premium. And I like the way Auburn's hitting the baseball, though. A mix of young guys and some of the veterans. So we'll be following that, obviously.
Murray, everybody, he's always been talked about, but obviously, of course, he had a good game last night too. And he's one of those older guys that,
right.
I'd love to sit down and talk to him and see how that's kind of, if he's been able to take on kind of that veteran role to some of the new guys.
Well, in your new role that you'll be doing with us, you'll probably get a chance to do that along with a lot of other players. So we're going to unveil that for everybody soon. Everybody's going to be excited. And I know you're excited. I'm excited about it. I'll be carrying the camera for you. How about that? So
appreciate it.
Yeah, somebody's got to do the grunt work while somebody gets all the lore and the praise. So, Jonathan, appreciate you, brother. Really appreciate all you guys. Some of you new tuning us in, and continue to spread the word. 1,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. We've jumped tremendously, and we're gonna going to keep growing. And it's all because of you guys out there. And we really appreciate it. Some of our other great partners here on the program, and couldn't do it without them. Sure Shot in Alexander City, firearms, apparel, anything hunting related. Give them a call, 256-329-0080. If you're not from around this area and you're coming through to Auburn from Birmingham, or you're going from Auburn up 280, stop in Sure Shot if you're an outdoors person. I'm telling you, man, great deals on camo for all different seasons. If you got a gun that you want to sell or trade for a newer gun, they'll handle that. Their selection is second to none. You'll go in there and you'll be blown away with all the different selection of shotguns, rifles, and handguns that they have. So don't take my word for it, although I do buy all my outdoor stuff from Sure Shot. Go check them out there on Highway 280 in Alexander City. And if you're planning a party, you need to call on Oliver Ross if you're going to have bartending service, because they have fully licensed and trained bartenders that will come to your place. And if it's a 20 person party or a 20,000 person convention, they will handle the bartending service for you. They do such a great job. I've been to a lot of functions where they are in charge of that. And man, it's great. Like I said yesterday, you don't have to worry about fumbling around and spilling everything and embarrassing yourself and ruining the vibe for everybody at your party. Hire Oliver Ross. Mark's a good dude, and he runs a great business. And we appreciate all of them there that are partners of our program. Appreciate it, Joseph. Appreciate you tuning us in today as well. All of you regulars out there, we appreciate you. Again, a little bit shorter this morning, a lot going on today. Not as much to dive into this morning as we wanted to. I mean, we can sit on here for 3 hours if we want to. But we try to deliver substance and try to get down to the brass tacks. Obviously, a lot of people will be watching the SEC tournament today as it gets started. Auburn will get started on Friday. Tomorrow, Faith, you and I will kind of preview the Ole Miss game and whoever they're playing, and then get ready for our game on Friday. So you can't really preview an opponent because we won't know who it is. So, but we will talk about that and a lot more. But again, want to thank all of our partners here on the program. Couldn't do it without them. Sense Green, Scout Program Management, Bunkers, Sure Shot, and Oliver Ross. We appreciate all of them for allowing us to do this podcast every single day. Faith, your last day at the beach, I see the tears.
Well, technically we still have today, but
this is the last day though, really, right?
Well, yeah, but like
quit
it's the best day ever, so I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, okay, yeah, don't cry.
I'm not going to cry. It's the
best day ever for all of you out there.
I'm going to take the dogs to the little beach for them to go play at, and then go and chill on the beach.
Chill. So in the sun.
A little longer.
Yep. Add to that color a little bit, right?
Yep. No doubt about it.
We all have fun down at the beach one more day, and we'll keep grinding up here and working. Let y'all enjoy your vacation. And
I appreciate it.
Hey, and we hope all of you out there that are watching have a great, wonderful day. We'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. War Eagle, everybody.
War Eagle.